Hey guys, it's Katie, and welcome back to That Time When, my podcast where we have real, honest talk about real shit I've experienced so I can give you all of the advice I wish I had that time when. So today's episode, similar to last week's episode, is going to be a little bit different because I'm not necessarily going to be giving you advice as much as I'm going to be kind of talking about my experience. And that's because we are talking about health and fitness and wellness, and I am not an expert at all, and I learned the very little that I do know off of social media. So that being said, I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert. Please take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is just my experience and my thoughts. Do all of your own research. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I think to be able to explain to you my current mindset and where I'm at with all of this, I have to sort of tell you where I started and give you the background on my fitness journey. And I really hate that phrase. It is like, you know how some people get triggered by certain words, like the word moist? And if that's your trigger word, I'm really sorry I just said it. But I just hate it. I think that phrase is like so annoying. But anyways, let's go back to the first grade. I played softball from first grade until my sophomore year of high school. In middle school, I did dance. I was also on a step team. So if you ever want to see my step team routine, let me know because I still know it. I should post that on Instagram. That would be really funny, but also kind of embarrassing. Like, I'd be exposing myself so hard, but it would be funny. Anyways, in high school, I was a cheerleader for all of high school and my freshman year of college. So I always had this built-in organized group exercise, basically, because I was in organized sports. And I never really cared what I ate. I never watched what I ate because, I was young. I had the metabolism of a young person. So I ate pretty much whatever I wanted. Like, we would get Burger King before cheerleading practice all the time. But I think in high school is when I started to get a little bit self-conscious of my body. But like I said, nothing major. Like, I still was eating whatever I wanted. I was still very active, so it was fine. So then I go to college. I cheered part of my freshman year of college. I had to quit about halfway through the year because I got my 7th or 8th concussion. I've had a lot of concussions, mostly from cheerleading. Cheerleading is super dangerous. It is a sport. I don't believe anyone when they say otherwise. End of story. But yeah, so when I quit cheerleading, I obviously lost that organized activity, and I didn't join a gym, and I was still eating whatever I wanted. And it started to really catch up with me, and I gained the freshman 15 and then some. So by the fall of 2014, fall, winter, Christmas time, I guess, was the heaviest I had ever been. Like, I'm 5'3". I'm not a very tall person, maybe 5'2". And I was up to 165 pounds. So on my frame, it wasn't healthy. And I was really unhappy. That was also about the time that I hit the lowest point in my life mentally. I was going through some stuff, and I was honestly kind of depressed. Like, it was just the worst point in my life. And I realized I'm so unhappy. I hate the way that I look. I hate the way I feel. I'm miserable. Something needs to change. So I had been seeing a lot of people posting about the Kayla Itsinas bikini body guides on Instagram. So I was like, you know what? All of these people are losing so much weight in 12 weeks. These progress pictures look amazing. What do I have to lose? I'm just going to try it. So I downloaded her bikini body guides, and I started doing them in my bedroom. And when I started, I could barely do a push-up. And back in high school, for football games, we would have to do a push-up for every single point the team had. So I could do like up to 50 push-ups at one point. I could barely do one anymore. I could barely do sit-ups. And that was when I had kind of this realization, like, how far I had fallen, I guess, like how much I had stopped caring about my health, because I knew what I was capable of before, and it was frustrating at first, but it was also nice because I was like, okay, well, I'm finally doing something about it. So I did the 12-week guide, and by the end of the 12 weeks, I had lost almost 30 pounds, and I was feeling amazing. I had pulled myself out of that mental state I had been in, and I was eating healthier. I was super dedicated, and I was feeling amazing. Like, I remember saying to myself, I don't see how I will ever go back to the way I used to be. I don't see how I could ever stop working out or eat as unhealthy as I was ever again, because I feel so good. And I got my first gym membership, and I started kind of dabbling in weightlifting. I started following like fitness influencers and stuff on Instagram. I think Nikki Blacketter was the first person I really started watching. and I started learning a little bit about weightlifting, but I was still kind of intimidated by the gym. I don't know, I didn't like people watching me work out. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I didn't want to be embarrassed. So I was a little intimidated by the gym, but I started getting into it more, and I really stuck with working out until 2015. So that fall of 2015 was when I met the guy who would be like the worst boyfriend ever, and I stopped really working out because boys ruin everything. And I kind of fell off of it until the following summer of 2016. And then when we broke up, I was like, you know what? I want to get back to the way that I looked 2 years ago. And so I started working out again on and off, but my only focus was I want to look the way that I used to look. I want to look a certain way. So, I would work out and eat healthy for a little bit, and then I would stop, and then I would do it again, and then I would stop. I was really on and off for like 2 years until the fall of 2018. And that's when I started my new job, the job that I have now. And the office has an awesome gym. It's like $5 a month for associates. It's open 24/7. It was awesome. So I was like, you know what? I think this is the time to really rededicate myself to my health and to working out more. So I got a gym membership. I was living at my parents' house at the time, 5 minutes down the road from my office. So I would go late at night at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and I'd be the only person in there. I'd have the whole gym to myself. And that was when I started to figure out, how all the machines work and all these different exercises, because I didn't have anyone watching me. So I didn't feel embarrassed. And I downloaded this app called the CC Fit app. Her name is Christina Capron on Instagram. I still use her app. It's awesome. But that was really when I started to actually learn more about lifting weights and using weights in the gym. And I realized how much I loved it. Like the 2 years before that, I had been trying different things. I tried spin. I hated it. I don't know how you girls who love spin, like God bless you for loving spin. But like, does your butt hurt so bad from sitting on that bike for so long? I did it one time and I was miserable. But I had tried some different things and I just wasn't liking any of them a lot. But then this app helped me realize like I really do enjoy weightlifting, and that was kind of my thing for the next year or so. So I started really working out spring of 2019. I was super dedicated. During the summer, I kind of was a little on and off with it, but I was still going. And then around Christmas time, 2019, so this past Christmas, was when I really told myself, okay, like I'm sticking to it now. Like I'm going to be really consistent. And I really have been until this whole quarantine thing happened. I was really worried I was going to fall off when quarantine started and all the gyms closed, because like I was being really consistent. I was going at least 4 days a week. I was being really good about it. But it's actually been a really good reset for me. And I've still been working out, but I've had to get kind of creative with it, with my at-home workouts. I do have some equipment here, but I found other workouts that I can do, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But it's been a good reset for me because I've kind of realized why I even care about my health and my fitness in the first place. And I've realized that it's because of how it makes me feel. I feel so much better just overall when I'm focused on being active and eating healthier and everything. And I think I realized that nothing probably stuck before because I was only doing it for the physical results and not for my overall health. Like I said, when I was in that 2-year phase of being so back and forth with it, all I cared about was I want to look a certain way. And I think that there are so many things that go into your health overall. And it all matters equally, I think. And now that I've had the time to focus on what I really want for my health and for my body, that's what kind of made me have that realization about why nothing worked for me before. But also, even when it came to the physical results, I only cared about losing weight. And now I care about being strong. I want to be able to do things with my body and with my strength. And so my focus now is just getting strong rather than dropping pounds. And that's a really big shift in my mindset. And it's helped me have a much healthier relationship with working out. And it's given me a little bit more motivation. And I'm going to talk more about motivation and discipline later on. But it's just helped me want to stick to it a little bit more because I'm focused on the feeling that I'm getting rather than a physical appearance oriented result. And something I appreciate about this social media fitness community, like I told you, I mean, I still follow all these people on Instagram and, get some ideas from them. And it does help me stay motivated a little bit. But something I appreciate about that fitness community on social media is that they're starting to push those messages more about, being strong versus just getting skinny and focusing on your health in every aspect, because I don't think it was always like that. And I think that it can get really toxic sometimes. So I appreciate that I'm not saying everyone is focused on, being strong and healthy. But I think that that's become more prevalent as all of this fitness stuff grows. And I appreciate that, because that kind of leads me into something I want to talk about, which is the fitness world on social media. I think everyone can kind of agree, like, fitness and health is popular right now. Feel like it's trendy. Everywhere I look, people are talking about fitness and health and working out and eating well and all of this stuff. And I think that there's a lot of pros and cons to how massive it's all become on social media. I mean, if you look at your Instagram feed and you refresh the Explore page, I guarantee you someone will pop up with like a workout or something. It's literally everywhere. But I think it's nice because it's made fitness more accessible. Like I said, when I first was new to working out, I really learned everything that I knew on Instagram and YouTube. And even during quarantine just now, I've been able to try so many workouts. Like, I've learned that I love Pilates and I enjoy barre, and I've tried different studio classes virtually because people are sharing them on social media. And it's so great because I never might have tried them if people hadn't been sharing them on social media, and I wouldn't have realized how much I enjoy them. And it's also shown me how much I can do from home. I think I always had this mindset like, well, I have to go to the gym to work out. Like, I'm not going to get a good workout in unless I'm in the gym. But it's really shown me how much I can do at home with just a little equipment, with no equipment, whatever it is, because sometimes I don't have the energy to go to the gym. Like, everyone I think has those days where it's like, I just don't want to freaking go. Today's not my day. I don't feel like it, or I don't have the time. I like to go during lunch at my office to my office gym, but sometimes I just don't have the time during my workday to do that. And it also makes it easier for people who have that gym intimidation that I've talked about how I have sometimes, because they can find workouts that they like at home. And I remember those days of all the awful on-demand workouts. Like, I remember I'd be sitting in my living room at my parents' house and I'd go on-demand on Comcast, and it would either be you could do a shitty aerobics class or you could do yoga with the creepy guy with the long hair, and like, those were your options, and that was it. And if you didn't like it, too bad. So it's nice that now there's just such a broad spectrum of all these workouts that you can do, and it's really shown me that there's not a lot of limits on what you can do at home. Like, it's totally possible to get an amazing workout in my office. And that's nice because like I said, I was worried that when this all started, I'd fall off, but I've actually really been able to stick to it and find new things that I like. So now when I do return to my normal routine and there are days that I don't feel like actually leaving my apartment to go to the gym, I can still stay on track with my goals from my apartment. And that's kind of comforting to know that, it is still possible. I can still sweat in my office. But anyways, I think that all of this is amazing. And, it's so great that it's so accessible. But I also think it's very easy to start comparing yourself when everywhere you look, there's all these super fit people with incredible bodies. Like I said, if you refresh the Explore page on your Instagram, I'm sure you will see it. And it can definitely feel a little bit discouraging, like if you're just starting out or if you had a setback and you're trying to get back into it, because comparison is kind of in our nature. And it can be hard when, you're at the very beginning and you see these people who might be at their peak and they look incredible. And you're like, well, I could never look like that. It's going to take me forever to look like that, whatever it is. But what I've had to keep reminding myself, because I'm totally guilty of it, of looking at these people whose workouts I follow on Instagram and, wishing I looked like them or feeling like I'll never get to where they're at. What I've reminded myself is that everyone starts somewhere and everyone's at different points in their progress. Like I said, these people might be at their peak. I'm not at my peak yet. I haven't gotten to my goals yet. And that's fine. And that fitness is going to look different on everyone. I think I used to look at certain people and I would idolize their body type, but I've realized like that's not my body type, and that's fine. Fitness is going to look different on me than it's going to look on her, and that is okay. Now, another thing that I've recently realized can be really tricky about all of these online fitness people a lot of them are releasing their own workout programs and guides and all of that stuff. And I think, like I said, that's wonderful. It makes fitness so accessible. But it can be kind of tough when everyone's workout program has some kind of timeline tied to it, like 30 days to this or 12 weeks for that. It makes you feel like you are on a timeline to get to your fitness goals, and I feel like it either adds pressure or it makes you feel discouraged when you get to the end of whatever program it is you're doing and you don't hit your goals. But I think you just have to remember, like, this is a lifelong commitment. Like, I want to be healthy for however long I'm here. I want this to be something I'm focused on for the rest of my life, and I'm not expecting all of my results and all of my answers in that time frame. So that's a little comforting, but I know it can kind of suck when, if you're not patient, like I'm not patient at all. It can kind of suck when it feels like, well, this isn't a 12-week fix. It's just 12 weeks to get me started. But I don't think that anything that's sustainable is a quick fix. Like, anything that's going to be long lasting and sustainable is not going to be 12 weeks. It's going to take time to sort of get to where you want to be. 12 weeks is not going to solve all your problems. I'd rather just leave the quick fixes for the people who think that Fit Tummy Tea isn't just a laxative. But anyways, on that same note, I want to also talk about being careful how seriously you take the advice of these fitness influencers. I think some of them have huge followings, which means they have a lot of influence, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they know what they're talking about. I think some of them might seem super knowledgeable and they seem like what they're saying is rational and seems accurate, but you don't always know if they have the credentials or the training to be giving any sort of legitimate advice. So just be careful about blindly trusting these people and do your own research. I mean, I've found people that, I'll see one video of theirs or one post of theirs and I like what they're saying, so I'll start following them. But then the more I follow them, I'll feel like, this doesn't necessarily seem healthy, or this feels a little bit toxic. So just be careful about who you believe. And also, because there are so many of these people out there, there's so much information out there. Like, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time figuring out what I'm supposed to believe because some of it is so contradictory. Like, I'll watch some fitness people who will say, I do cardio before almost every workout, and some people will say, well, I only do cardio maybe once or twice a week. Or someone will say, keto is the most incredible thing to ever happen to me. And other people will say, keto, I don't know about it. And like, intermittent fasting, that's another one. People will say intermittent fasting is like the key to all of your problems, but then other people will say, no, I don't think that's super healthy. So it's really hard to know what to believe when there's just so much information out there. Like, how are you supposed to sift through it all? I mean, I try to do my own research, but I feel like I still come up with mixed answers. So then I try to do what everyone is saying, and I try to just do what works for my body. But one, how am I supposed to know what that means? And two, when will I know that it's working? Like, I feel like you hear so many people say, do what works for you, but I just don't know what that means because it's so vague and it feels more like a way to just avoid giving real advice because they might not know what they're talking about. So it's just really hard to figure out what you're supposed to be doing when everywhere you turn, someone is saying something different. And I've kind of gotten to a point where I just do what I enjoy, and I hope that that's what they mean because, I mean, if it makes me happy, then it has to be working, right? Like, at least I'll be sticking to it. But yeah, this not misinformation, but like this surplus of information. And some of it is misinformation. Like I said, be really careful about what you're believing because not all of it is accurate and not all of it is good advice. But it's just so hard to sift through when you're getting so much different information from so many angles. But anyways, earlier I mentioned that I wanted to talk about motivation versus discipline. And I kind of want to get into that more because it seems like these people I see on social media always have the motivation to work out and eat healthy, and that is just not realistic. Like, obviously, it would be so nice to be motivated all the time. I would love if I had the motivation to get to the gym first thing every single morning, but unfortunately, that's just not how shit works, at least in my world, and probably for a lot of other people too. Because you're going to have days where you would rather do anything than go to the gym, and the only thing that sounds good for dinner is pizza. And I'm not going to lie, I had pizza for dinner last night because that was just what I wanted. I'd been craving pizza for days, and I wanted it, so I had it. But for the record, I do think it is totally healthy to skip the workout every now and then when you're not feeling it, and to have pizza if you've been craving it. But I think discipline is what's going to keep you from making those habits a daily thing and keep you on track with your goals. Something I heard recently that I thought was super interesting is motivation is a feeling and feelings are fleeting, but discipline is a behavior. And I just thought that was so interesting because it's kind of true. Like, motivation comes and goes, just like I have good days and bad days, but discipline is what's going to keep me, on track and going to the gym when I, decide to have pizza like I did last night. So today I'm going to go for a nice walk. I'm going to go to my parents' house and walk my dogs for the afternoon. But yeah, I've been trying to be disciplined with myself during quarantine, especially because like I have so much more time. What else am I going to be doing right now? But I'm not going to lie, I'm nervous for when this is all over that I might fall out of it because things will go back to normal and, I'll be going to the office every day and I'll have my normal commute, which is super long to and from work, and like life will just happen again. And I'm nervous about trying to get back into the routine that I had. As weird as that sounds, like I had stuck to that routine for months, but I'm nervous about getting back into it because I've gotten into this new routine. But, I'm going to do my best to stick to it and try to stay disciplined and keep going because I've been so frustrated with myself over the years for all of this back and forth. Like, because I've been so back and forth, my weight has fluctuated a lot. I feel like I haven't been the healthiest over the years. And now, like I was saying earlier, I just want to find something that's sustainable and makes me feel good and healthy. And I really like the way that I feel when I'm sticking to it. So I want to be able to keep up with that. But I think that the things that I've done this time around, the things I've done differently, are going to help me stay on track with that because, I want to get stronger and I want to be, enjoying healthy meals and finding new recipes that I like and, enjoying what I'm eating and still just living my life without being so obsessively focused on going to the gym and losing weight and not eating this because it's not good for you. Like, I definitely used to be that way where I would beat myself up if I missed a gym day. Like, when I was working out 6 days a week, when I was really like at my peak, I would get so mad at myself if I missed a workout day. And now I'm more forgiving with myself. Like yesterday, I just wasn't feeling it, so I didn't work out. And that's fine. Today, I'm just going to get back on track. It's a new day, whatever. But it's taken me a really long time to figure all of that out. Like I said, I started caring about my health and fitness at least about 5 years ago. So it's taken me 5 years to get to that point where, I'm not so hard on myself. And I've realized that this is more of a longer process than I originally intended it to be. I think I thought in the beginning it was going to be, well, I do this 12-week guide and I'm going to be fit and healthy and that's that. And it's going to turn me into a whole new person. Like, that's not the case. I still crave pizza. I still crave Burger King all the time. And that's fine. It's totally okay to have those things. And I think it's just, for me, been a process of figuring out, well, how do I keep the things that I enjoy and keep doing the things that I want to do while still keeping my health, I don't want to say top of mind, but still keeping my health a priority. And it's totally possible to do that. And I'm really proud of myself for how far I've come because I definitely was doing things that were totally unhealthy and not okay before. But I'm just glad that I've gotten to a good place with all of it and that I'm not looking at all these people on Instagram and just working my butt off to try and look like them. I kind of finally care about just looking like me and just getting to a good, healthy place with myself, regardless of what that looks like, whether it looks like someone that I watch on Instagram or not. So anyways, I'm going to stop rambling. I would really love to hear about any new workouts that you guys have tried during quarantine. Like I said, I've been trying Pilates. I've been loving hot Pilates on Instagram. That's kind of my new thing. I feel like Pilates is going to be something that I do on the weekends now, even after all of this is over. So let me know what workouts you've been trying. And also, if you have any easy, healthy recipes, let me know because I'm trying to experiment a little bit more with my recipes now that I have the time. I made Thai food for the first time at home last week, and it was so good, actually. So I would love to hear what you guys have been doing and cooking. So head over to my Instagram at thattimewhenpod, comment on my latest post, and let me know. But that's going to wrap up today's episode. So I hope that you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you next Monday.